Welcome to the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the Elfz Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Hey! Oh yeah, we are a bunch of wild and crazy Browns fans. We are the Fanatical Elfz. Thank you all for being here. It's a Thursday night, and we are excited you're here. We're giving away free stuff in a little bit, so thanks for tuning in. Part of Fans First Sports Network, part of the Fanatical Elfz. I'm John. There is Jarrell. Up top is Sam, and there's Lou. And I was just saying, there's Noah chiming in. Thanks, Noah, who's at a captain's ball game tonight. If you get a chance, not all of us, Sam and Jarrell and I aren't probably as famous as Lou, but if you want to check something out, check Jarrell's, Lou Marconi, Marconi.
Yep.
Easy Wikipedia page. Dude, it's not just like a little tiny Wikipedia page. It's got all these details about like all the matches he won when he was a semi-pro wrestler, like in Pennsylvania, and he's like the champion of all these things. And his nickname is
what was that, the Beef Stew?
Beef Stew, which
that was a high school nickname that followed me into wrestling. That's what happened. That's how that happened. Yeah, it was funny. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Lou, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you. Doing great. Yeah, thank you. I was just surprised to hear that my wrestling career came up. Yeah, I've been retired for be 9 years now. So, Yep. Yeah, so it's cool. I'll tell you what, interesting Browns news this week, because you think like the off season things will slow down, and they just don't. Not in the NFL this time of day, and because this is the last time in the last day of the mandatory mini camp. I'm trying to think when are they supposed to report in Berea, then go to the Greenbrier? Is that like I heard July 24th?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right toward that end. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't think of the place Greenbrier. I was calling it Briarwood or something on my show earlier today. And I was
have you guys ever been to the Greenbrier in West? And
I've seen it in photos. Have you been down there?
I've been there. Yeah, I've been in it. I've actually. There's if you could take a look. There was an old. Back when it was the west wing of it was being built, President Eisenhower had installed a secret nuclear fallout bunker, and you can get a tour of it.
Wow.
Because it's completely obsolete. It was obsolete by the 90s, because back then they didn't have the missiles they have today. And he did that, and it was supposed to be for Congress. If there was a nuclear fallout, they can go there and stay functioning and shelter.
Yeah.
So,
and now our Cleveland Browns are there.
Yes. Well,
I wonder if they have a movie night. Maybe they have a movie night down there in the bunker.
I would have played a round of golf on their golf course, but it was raining that day. So I was like, all right, I'll check out the bunker. And I was there for my company. It's a very expensive resort. I will say that.
Yes.
A BLT sandwich cost
Lou
me
Marconi, listen, you're a Wikipedia star, so I think you could afford it.
Yeah, I was able to afford $17 for a BLT. That's what I paid. Just a BLT was $17.
Nice to have you here, Lou.
Thank you.
Great. We're going to talk about the mini camp here. Sam, the man. How you doing, Dallas Cowboy?
No Dallas Cowboys. I would be Dallas Mavs, but they're getting completely annihilated in the finals right now, so I can't really say much about them. Boston is killing us right now.
What's the weather like there? Hot?
It's actually quite cool now for June. It's like going to be like mid 80s for the next week.
Nice.
But it's been hot, but it's been a bit milder right about now. But we had a very mild winter, so usually mild winter means you're going to melt in the summer. So just looking forward to not melting. It gets dark at 9:30. It's annoying.
Yeah. Sam, I have a question for you. So Luka Doncic or whatever, the star of the Mavs. I was listening to our guy Brian Windhurst, who's always covered the Cavs. I don't know if you saw that interview at some point on ESPN last night, but he was really, really, really negative about Luka and his selfishness. And
he
talked about after the game, and the call where he got the foul call, and then he swore at his bench, and just how immature he really truly is. Coming
Yeah,
from Brian Windhorst's mouth, that was surprising.
There's definitely something up with Luka. He's like entitled, I guess. I think the problem is he's probably the number one offensive player in the entire NBA right now, maybe number two. He's still pretty dang young for his age. He hasn't even hit his prime yet. This is the furthest he's gone. He's still young. I think he's just a young, rich, entitled kind of kid right now. I think he's gotta get hit around a little bit, like I think that's something we're missing from like the 80s and the 90s is there's not a whole lot of physicality anymore. So I think we got to get Luka punched in the face once or twice, and I think he'll mature up a little bit.
That'll straighten him out, right?
Yeah.
Well, coming from somebody like Brian Windhorst, who's covered, the NBA forever, and LeBron, it really was damning. I thought listening to him, I was like, oh man, and considering that, you got Kyrie in there in that locker room too, I just was not expecting that. Anyway, Jarrell, how you doing?
Doing well. Less than 100 days to football, so we're inching slowly but surely there.
Excellent.
Do you count the preseason?
I'll count the preseason just because I'll have it on. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it too. I'm gonna be at both home preseason games, so I'll be there. I'm like, but I'll watch them. Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, John.
No. So let's start with. I want to talk about okay, you're down in Tennessee with the Titans and all that stuff. I know you don't follow them maybe as much as the Brownies. Well, let's just start. I talked about this in my podcast earlier. There's been, and Lou, you kind of touched on it yesterday with some of the the national media folks. Some people are starting to come along and kind of recognize the Brownies. And
I sent you the video clip that I used. Yeah.
Yes, and this other article I read from PFF. It was talking about 5 teams that were being underestimated, and that included the Brownies. It also included your Tennessee Titans. And in the article, this person who wrote the article said that maybe the Titans aren't going to go to the playoffs, but this person thought that the Titans would be a lot better. They also said with the Browns specifically that they're like a 4,000 to 1 odds to win the Super Bowl. I just wanted to kind of get your take. The other teams that were in there included, I think, the San Diego or the LA Chargers, the Browns. There was a couple other teams in there. Seattle was in there in that group of teams that are underestimating. But then like Lou, you pointed out the guy from CBS Sports who gave them a plug to win the AFC North. Just let's start with you, Jarrell. Like your take on, you think the Browns are being respected enough, and do you think we should be respected more, or do you like where we sit?
That's a hard question because the Ravens won the AFC North, and I think everybody that watched that game would say that they blew that game, that they were in control for most of that game, and they lost that game. So really, I don't really care when you talk about media coverage or who they're picking or any of that, because, the game is played between the lines. And the thing that concerns me about the Brownies is that I think every game is going to be close because of their strength of schedule. I think more often than not, they're going to be involved in close games. So it's going to come down to, are you making the right decision? Like Deshaun Watson, do you want to play hero ball, or are you just going to take the check down if they're giving it to you? Kind of like what you didn't see Lamar Jackson do. He wasn't playing to his strengths. So what I hope that they do, because I think everybody's not going to be surprised by the Browns. The Browns are going to catch nobody by surprise. They're probably going to get most teams' best shot. They have to go into it, replicate what the defense did, but the offense has to come along. And I think as long as they execute, regardless of what the chatter is, because let's just be honest, if they win the AFC North, nobody's going to pick them to win the Super Bowl. You still got to go through Mahomes. So, people wouldn't even pick them probably to beat the Ravens if the Ravens got to come for a playoff game. So you're not really going to get the respect until you do. I think Steve says it a lot. You're not going to get the respect until you do it over and over again. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, I don't
care what the media says. They have to execute.
Lou, what about you?
I agree with Jarrell that it doesn't matter what the media says, because I'll never forget Adam Rank saying they were going to go 6-11 last year. So it's like, Yeah, I would have loved to have them on my show, and just I would have said, "So what are you going to say now, Nostradamus?" That's what I would have said to them. It's just because everybody's an expert in June and May. It's there's so many things that could happen, so many different factors. I'm going to say we're going to be a good team. We're going to be a competitive team. Um, do we need some luck? Everybody does, and I always say luck is preparation meeting opportunity. It is, and I think winning the games you're supposed to win, like when we go to Washington, we should curb stomp them. When we play the Giants here, we should curb stomp them, and those aren't going to be close games. But I could see the Dallas game being close here. I could see the Jacksonville being close. I could see I could see a lot of games being close, especially divisional games. We are in the best division in football. We are. I mean, undoubtedly, and either team could finish in fourth place with a winning record, or win the division and and be a top seed in the playoffs. So it's hard to say what's going to happen right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Everyone's kind of throwing things out. Sam.
Yeah. I feel like I agree. This division is really good, but I think there's a lot of problems with this division too. Steelers, who knows what's going to happen? Well, the Steelers are just a problem in general, but the Steelers are dealing with quarterback stuff. So is Cincinnati. We don't know how healthy Joe Burrow is going to be. His hand just might never work again. I don't know. And then Lamar, he can be great, or he can break his knee 3 weeks into the season and be out for the season. And then even with us, I mean, we still are dealing with Deshaun. He might get hurt. I mean, this division could be the best or the worst in the AFC potentially, depending on what happens with injuries. But I think we're looking at a really competitive team, but a really, I guess, shaky team. I guess maybe just because of injuries and just because of the potential risk of, I think we're built high and not wide. I think we are wide, but I think we're built very high, which is why when things like Deshaun Watson or Nick Chubb or injuries like our offensive line happen, our team kind of not really falls apart, but kind of breaks down a bit because we don't have a whole lot of good players below them. But I think we're definitely still a good team, and I think it'll be really fun to watch this division.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Steelers, and I know we always say, well, it's not going to be the Steelers' year. They haven't had a sub 500 record in Tomlin's career as coach. So
not since 2003.
Right. So, I mean, we all say, well,
you know why that is? Defense.
Yeah.
They pride the defense, and it looks like the Browns are starting to do that. If the defense is what this AFC North division is predicated on. If your defense is shoddy, you don't have a shot.
So, Jarrell,
yeah.
So, let's talk with the defense. Okay, so red zone defense. I was reading some stuff on that, and you guys have done some research and different things. Probably last year, Schwartz has been talking about that red zone defense, and that we gave up 20 touchdowns in the air, 15 rushing touchdowns in the red zone. The 20 passes was quite high in the league. That was one of the higher teams giving up that's a pretty big amount. They had 8 interceptions, but they didn't force any fumbles. And so I was talking to my one show one morning, just how there was an article written about that, and that basically this national guy was just saying that the Browns defense is good, but where they really need to get stronger is in that red zone. And, we saw a little bit of that on minicamp today. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute, but that ability for the team, not only to get the interceptions, but to force the fumbles and to really cut down on those 20 passes through the air, including the 15 and also the 15 on the run,
Yeah.
I mean, I just see that as being a huge, huge thing going into this season.
One other point.
Yeah,
Can I make a point? Was just that a lot of times on the road, the Browns offense did put the defense in a really bad position and special teams. That happened quite a bit. So if that gets cut down too,
twice at least that I can think of just off the top of my head. I mean, Deshaun Watson threw interceptions to start games that were either run back for touchdowns or, like you said, put them in
Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Pittsburgh
Yeah.
and Baltimore.
I mean, you just
on the
can't.
road. On the road. Yep.
You cannot do that. And that's the scary part about any, even Deshaun Watson. And we saw what happened to the Browns in the playoff game with Joe Flacco. 2 passes, 2 pick sixes, and the game's over. But the Browns defense is solid, right, Jarrell? I mean, you see it as a do you I kind of Sam, I like your the way that you described the Browns just now. I thought it was really really
high
neat.
but not
High
wide.
but not wide.
Yeah.
What do you guys think on that?
Do you want to go?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think we saw areas of weaknesses on the roster, and one of them being backup quarterback.
Yeah.
They addressed with Jameis Winston and Tyler Huntley, because I don't think they want to start PJ Walker and DTR again in an important game in October if Watson can't play for whatever reason.
Yes.
So we got wider, I think.
Yep.
There we did. But I think what they would do, like for instance, if the team falls short of expectations, like they did 2022 or even 2021, they'll take a look and say, okay, where can we get better? And they'll address it. They did that with the defensive line. They're doing it with backup quarterback. So hopefully we're on the right track to be even wider than we were. So
yeah, Jarrell.
Yeah, I think Sam made a good point, because the defense started out so dominant, but it was like as the season went on, the numbers kind of started to taper off. Now, I think to lose points, some of that had to do with the quarterback play and being given short fields. But what I'd like to see is more consistent, like the defense staying consistent and actually playing better as the year goes on. Because it's like they started out at such a high point.
Yeah.
It seemed like after the Baltimore game, to me, I don't know what y'all think, but after the Baltimore game, and maybe that coincided with Watson getting hurt, it kind of started to taper down a little bit. But I think, like Lou said, I think they addressed everything that needed to be addressed. For me, it was probably the linebacker piece, and you got to figure out a way to get a little bit more out of the backup defensive tackles, like when Tomlinson is in the game. So hopefully that rookie they drafted will actually be able to come in and make an impact.
Yep.
Let's swing back to the mini camp for a minute.
Okay.
Amari Cooper, news of the week early on, not there. We all feel, I mean, I know Lou and I have talked about this off air, but I mean, and we've talked about it in our texting that, it looks like, Amari should get a deal done. What do you think that deal will look like? And like Lou had mentioned in a little bit, is it more about the years? And you addressed this too, Lou. You talked about 2026 being kind of an important year for the Brownies.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of hear from all of you. Sam, why don't we start with you? Talk first about Amari not being there. Are you confident that he'll be signed? And what are you looking at for that? And then
I'm not worried about a holdout. I think after some of these running back holdouts and these wide receivers and all these holdouts, I think we've kind of moved away from that point. I think especially with how I think Amari Cooper is looking probably to see CeeDee Lamb get a deal done, because I think he's trying to figure out what the ceiling is so he can cut that maybe 60 or 70% and ask for whatever that is, or maybe a little lower. But I think he's waiting for CD to get done, because I think he might get more or the same or a little less as Justin Jefferson. But I think he's waiting for the market to settle itself so he can ask for a little bit more or a little longer of a deal. But I think it'll be done by training camp most likely, or maybe a little into it. I don't think we're going to see a holdout at all.
Lou?
I agree. I think a deal will be done before training camp. I think he won't miss any time. And I think we're going to look back when we're talking about games coming up in October and November. We're not even going to think about this. So, but he was the good sign was that he was at David Njoku's softball game. You guys were up in Cleveland, so he was at the game. He's around. He's in contact with people on the team. He's still they're currently in negotiations. What he did was a negotiation tactic. More than likely, the Browns aren't going to fine him as a show of good faith, which means that it's just a part of the process, and that's why, just to add to what Sam was saying. Mhm.
Drill.
Yeah, I mean, I think a deal will get done. It has to get done. I
Mhm.
think when they let Landry walk, that was kind of like your locker room piece. Hopefully, they're learning from their mistakes. Where hasn't he led the AFC North for the 2 years that he's been here in receiving yards?
I know he had his career season. I mean, last year was his career numbers, and then the 9 touchdowns. I think was it the year before, which was a career high. Was that?
Yeah. So I mean, with that being said, and I think he probably will pay dividends because if Jerry Jeudy comes in and he starts getting separation, you can probably point to Amari Cooper being able to mentor him and show him how to do that. So I just think the Browns hopefully are starting to realize certain pieces you gotta retain and to be able to pass that down.
So do you guys think that this deal, like they would have? Why didn't they get the deal done before minicamp? Was that on the Browns or was it on Amari? You wonder. Like, is Amari, like you're saying, Sam, waiting to see how the market is, and he didn't want to sign? The Browns came to him and presented him something, or the? I mean, I don't like the fact that the Browns are going into this, having him miss minicamp.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't like seeing one of the guys that really is a loyal guy and committed and a team guy, a little bit like Nick Chubb in that way.
Very quiet.
Doesn't do a lot of talking, and so it, no, it doesn't make a lot of, I don't know. I talked to other guys on the side. Munch Bishop, who works from Northeast, writes. He's a big guy. He's in.
I know Munch.
Yeah, Munch. Munch is always he's an anti-Deshaun guy. He doesn't like Deshaun at all. But we were talking in this text chat about how this Deshaun gets a lot of love, and why aren't we talking more about Amari? Why aren't more people up in arms? And the fact that like we're all sort of relegated to sort of like, well, it'll get done. Don't worry about it. Why aren't we more upset as a fan base? And why are we giving sort of the Browns front office and Stefanski and Andrew Berry kind of this? We're not getting more upset with them. I don't know. It was an interesting take. Yeah, Lou.
I have an answer. I think because we've seen competence in the last 4 years, and we think that they're gonna do the right thing.
Okay.
We just that's why
What do you think it's going to look like? I mean, do you think like 20 million? He's getting 20 million right now.
I think he'll get a raise, and he'll get maybe 3 years.
So you think the 3 years is? I mean, that's what maybe.
Yeah, just they might like guarantee the front load the guarantee and add void years later, so that way the cap hit's not so bad. And he wants to be able to because he knows he's getting older. He knows his age. Mm-hmm. Once you hit 30, and he's turning 30 this month, so it's that fine line. But he also knows what we have here is this roster's special, and he knows that too. So
yeah, okay. Anything else that caught your interest this week at minicamp? Any of you guys? Before I know, Lou, you've got your show coming up here.
Yeah, I got 15 minutes. I'm good. I'm good. There was an interesting story. I don't know if it's necessarily minicamp related. Did you see Brian Callahan on Adam Schefter's show? You know what I'm talking about? Brian Callahan, the coach of the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on Adam Schefter's show, and he talked about how he was able to get his father to leave the Browns and come join him, and how that went down. Did you?
No,
you guys didn't see that?
I haven't seen that.
Well, he explained how a year before he was the offensive coordinator with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And he explained the year before that he was speaking to the Colts about their head coaching position, but it didn't happen. And the Colts wanted him to bring his dad. And his dad said, no, I'm happy here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
He even said the same thing when he got the Tennessee job, but then his father watched him on television do his first press conference, and he felt like he should be there. So he went to Kevin Stefanski and he explained it to him, and they let him out of his contract.
Really?
Yes. That's if you look it up, it's Brian Callahan on Adam Schefter's show. Yeah, he did say that, and I was like, that surprised me.
Yeah,
when I saw that, I was like, wow, because you kind of knew it went down, but you didn't know how it went down. And the guy that we have now, that's our run game coordinator, offensive line coach, Andy Dickerman, is that his name?
Okay.
Yeah, he came from the Seahawks. He actually learned under Callahan.
Oh, okay.
With the Jets, yeah, he was actually so that's why it kind of. If you think about Bill Callahan's in his 80s.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's in his 80s. I think he's 82. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But he felt as a father he needed to go help his son with his first head coaching job, and that's
Speaking
why
of-
he did it. And
speak-
you can't fault him for that. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
I hated to see him go. I loved having him here. You know.
Jarrell, anything? Any other things of interest this week with the mini camp and the Brownies?
I mean, I've been watching the press conferences, but honestly, I'm kind of getting tired of the social media hype videos and all of that, man. I'm ready for the
Watching
pads.
passes and shorts and helmets.
Yeah, 7-on-7s. I'm ready for them to put the pads on and really
Let's
get
watch
to it.
games. Let's see.
Yeah, let's watch some games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even if it's preseason, we'll be happy.
Sam, anything interest you this week?
Not really. It's just been boring June. Really, there's just not a whole lot going on other than the normal social media
Trying to
stuff.
find
And
stuff to write
Let's-
about too.
I know.
Let's do a quick break. We'll come right back. I want to ask these guys about some all-time Browns of the past real quick. So we are the Fanatical Elves. This is the Fanatical Elves show. We'll be right back after these quick commercial breaks. And we're back. We're windy here. We're on the plains. There's a breeze. I don't know.
I got
Honestly,
a fan.
I don't know. I don't know who it. It could be.
It's
just
me.
funny.
It's got to be my fan. It's the. I have an
It's funny
oscillating.
because I lived in Wichita, Kansas for 26 years. Lived on the plains there, and it was windy in Wichita. Pretty much 80 to 90% of always. Sam, you can probably say the same thing about Dallas. There's always a breeze.
Yeah, there always seems to be some sort of wind, or it's just windy. But the wind has died down. It was really bad like 3 weeks ago. It was just blowing all the time.
Well, all right. Let me ask you this: Brownies top 10 all time. I had this list of guys that were like Munch Bishop. They from Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders. They were putting together a list of our top 10. I think they're releasing that article. I think either today or tomorrow. But I wanted your take on your top 10 just off. I know we've talked about a few of these guys, but I wanted to throw these names at you. So thinking of all the Cleveland Browns of the past, who would make your top 10? My question had to do with Bernie Kosar, Bernie, because he was not initially on this list that was created by one of our writers. And there was a big discussion of why he wasn't, and I think they put him on that list. They actually put Nick Chubb on that list, and he took Nick Chubb out and put in Bernie. So I'm trying to find this list. Okay, so we got Jim Brown, Otto Graham, Ozzie Newsome, Lou the Toe Groza, Joe Thomas, Myles Garrett, Clay Matthews, Paul Warfield, Dante Lavelli, and then they had Nick Chubb. Now this guy took out Nick and put in Bernie. I love Bernie, but I talked on my podcast. I don't know if he would be in my top 10 of all time. Just wanted your thoughts on that, if there's anybody that's missing from that list, or if you thought that was pretty fair. Jarrell, you want to go first? Can you think of anybody else outside of that?
Two names that I feel like Brian Sight might have to be in there because I didn't even win the MVP. And then I would maybe have to throw Hanford Dixon in there. I'd maybe have to throw Hanford in there.
Put in Hanford Dixon. The wind quit blowing in Kansas one day and everybody fell down. Zeke Dog.
That's funny.
Thanks, Zeke.
Yeah, Sipe. In my understanding, I think Sipe leads the franchise in passing yards, career passing yards, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right, and I hadn't had a chance
to be on there. Yeah.
But I was. My conversation with Bernie has to do with the fact that while I think he's a superhero and everybody loves Bernie statistically and everything, I'm not convinced that he should be in that top 10. I would much rather I feel much stronger about Nick Chubb. Now, obviously, he's been injured. We don't know what we're going to get the rest of his career, but his numbers, when you look at it right now, he's currently number 3, right?
Yeah.
Or number 4. He should overtake. He's got 2 guys in front of him.
Leroy Kelly and probably
yeah, and then
Greg Pruitt.
One of the Pruitts. He should be overtaking them any second now. So I don't know. I just don't know if Bernie belongs in that top 10. Lou?
Well, was Myles Garrett on that list? Or
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jim Brown, Otto Graham, Ozzie Newsome, Lou the Toe Groza.
Okay.
Some people
I thought I didn't hear Myles for some reason. That's
Joe Thomas and Myles Garrett. So Joe Thomas and Myles Garrett. Clay Matthews.
Would you argue Josh Cribbs?
Mm-hmm. Paul Warfield's in there. Yeah, Josh Cribbs.
That's what I was thinking about. There's one other modern guy that I would think, or expansion era guy, would be Josh Cribbs.
Yes.
For special teams. Absolutely.
When you start talking special teamers, then you're talking Josh Cribbs and Eric Metcalf.
And
McCube, Gerald McCube. Phil Dawson. Yeah. Any of you others think of anybody else? You mentioned Brian Sipe. I agree. I think Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put Brian in there ahead of Bernie.
I would too. I think he'd have to be there.
Yeah. Sam, anybody else?
No, I don't really have anyone. I'm too young to be really well versed in Browns history and the best players and stuff, but so I don't really know. I don't have much of anything to add.
Okay. Well, thanks for trying.
Yeah, I could say Nick Chubb, but
top 20 then. Yep, top 20. Yeah, absolutely, Zeke. I agree. Bernie should definitely be. I'd say top 15. It really gets a little interesting right there. Myles Garrett is certainly deserving. He's number 6 on this list. Myles, Clay Matthews was 7, and Joe Thomas was 5. Dante Lavelli, a lot of people don't know who he is, but a great wide receiver.
Blue fingers.
Yeah, did everything.
I don't know, because they weren't even recording tackles when Clay Matthews played, right? Because if they
sacks,
that's what it was.
Yeah,
so I don't know if I put Myles Garrett ahead of Clay Matthews yet. I don't know if I do that yet.
Yeah, right. Well, we've got. Myles still has years to go. So Myles still has miles on his career. Let's just say that.
Well, that article will be coming out on Northeast Sports Insider, so check that out. Anything else? We're gonna try to wrap things up. I know Lou's got to get going here.
I got 5 minutes.
5 minutes of final takes here on the week. We're gonna have, we've all of these guys. Again, I mention this every week, but on my show too. Jarrell too. He's got his dog radio apparel, and we really would love for you to buy some of his things. We've got our own apparel store. We're going to give away a hat here in a momentarily. Free stuff tonight. Jarrell, any final takes this week again on what you're anticipating? Now the Browns are going to get a break.
So I was born in '86. So they left when I was like, 10 years old, 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
I would say since I've been alive, because I don't really remember like the early 90s, but since I've been alive, this is probably the most confident I have been ever in Browns going into the season. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think winning the division is in play. I think making a deep playoff run is in play, regardless of what the press conferences are, any of that. So that's why I'm ready to just get the season started, because I want to see it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yes.
Sam, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I think I'm just excited football's finally back, because football is just fun. But I think this Browns team, again, I've said 13 or 12 wins, the normal stuff. Just is interesting. There's just a lot of stuff surrounding the Browns with health and stuff that's it's something you don't have every season. So it's just fun to just see it all kind of happen and see everyone recover and see how everything's progressing. It's just been a fun off season.
Yes, absolutely. Are we ready to give away some free stuff?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. The winner tonight of Jarrell, you've got those awesome. I don't know if you have any with you. We got
the hats.
The hat.
Not next to me.
We got one right there.
This one,
Lou.
Yeah, that one, and then we've got the brown one too. So we're gonna give. I'm not sure if we have all of them. what I've got right now to give away.
This is the brown one. This is the
And
brown
then
one.
we've got the dog on
There you
one of
go.
them too. Yep.
Yep.
I think we've got
Yep,
the
these are
brown
nice.
version of that one, and then we've got one that has like the actual dog on it. I think I'm going to give that one away. Yep, that's the one of
Look at
those.
Lou.
Yep,
I got them right here in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working. Yeah.
All right, so
People
thank
been
you
asking me about them. I
for
told them
doing the
go to your
prices right.
website.
Yeah, go to your website. Tell everybody about your website again,
Yeah,
Jarrell.
Dog food, www.dawgfoodstore.com.
Yep.
Exclusive designs there.
The hoodie my wife commandeers my hoodies, so so she's been wearing it. It looks so.
Yeah. Well, listen. Our winner tonight is Robin Woolery.
All right, Robin.
Woolery, who is a Ohio State or Ohio Buckeye and mother of 3. She loves fishing and crocheting. Looks like she's from Texas, Sam. So maybe you can meet.
Run it just run it over there.
She's got
No.
It looks
Texas
like she's down the El Paso
really
area. She's in El Paso, so that's halfway across the state. So anyway, congratulations, Robin. Thank you for posting and reposting and following our Fanatical Elfz. We are growing on this network because of you guys, because you, the fans, we love you guys. You guys are loyal to the Browns. You're loyal to our network, and we're growing because of you. And we've been doing this for over a year, and now we've got Sam on board and Jarrell and Lou. And Lou's got a Wikipedia page, and Jarrell's got an apparel store, and Sam wears his Dallas Cowboy hats. So you got to come join us, man, because there's nobody better than us. We're entertainers. We love to entertain you. And listen, we listen to a lot of podcasts. We all do here.
All right, come check me on the Burning River Browns talk. I gotta go.
See ya.
See you, Lou.
Yeah.
You got to follow us along here on the Fanatical Elfz, and you won't miss a beat. And we're fun to listen to. So thanks for tuning in tonight. And any final thoughts, Jarrell or Sam, before we say goodbye?
No, I think we covered it all. Yeah, I think we covered it all.
All right, guys, take care. Have a great weekend. Go Browns. Baby,
I don't have any Browns here.
I gotta find my
I
music.
don't have anything Brown. Go Browns. Yeah.
Browns. Go Browns. See ya.